And where should I look?
Oh,
At here?
Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Talk of Titusville. And today we're doing an interview with Vickie Conklin. She's running for city mayor for Titusville. So,
Good
hi,
evening.
welcome.
Good evening. Thank you.
So, um, let's first I want to offer my condolences
Thank you. Thank you.
for your husband passing.
Thank you.
It's
He's a
what,
good man.
July 13th, right?
Yes, it was. It
So,
was.
but it was a long illness.
He had been ill for quite some time.
Quite some time. And one of the
Yeah.
things I guess he wanted you to
Oh my goodness.
continue with this,
Yes,
correct?
yes. Every day. How many doors did you knock today? You go out again. You go out again, and you win this for me. And
Mhm.
so we're going to win this for him.
Yeah, there you go.
Absolutely.
Let's do it,
Absolutely.
right?
My retired lieutenant colonel in the army. He was a good man.
So awesome. And what have you like your past experiences for mayor? What do you
Mhm.
think what have you done? I think you've been a mayor
I was.
and
I was actually
state
in
representative or
no, I
ran
wasn't a state rep, but
or
I was a mayor in the city of
mayor.
Titusville, Missouri.
Yeah.
Mhm. And actually it was for 8 years.
Oh, wow.
Right. So what I had done was started off on the park board, volunteer,
Yeah.
get involved in the community,
Mhm.
and in one thing leads to another, and people asked me to run because they saw some leadership
Oh,
qualities there.
nice.
And so I ran for an alderman. It was instead of councils called alderman. So I ran for that, and then I was elected, and that was 2-year terms, everything was. So I got elected for that, ran again, won again, but in the middle of that term, um, folks asked me to run for mayor, and I did. So it was in 1993 that I was alderman, and then 95 reelected, and then 96 then I was elected as mayor of the community. Again, 2-year terms, so I was reelected in 98 and in 2000 and 2002. And so I served a total of 8 years as mayor, essentially 13 years of public service
What
with the
brought you to
community.
Florida?
My husband retired. He wanted to retire and move to Florida,
Okay.
the dream everyone
Yeah.
has. And so it was a good time.
Okay.
And so we moved. He was able to go ahead and retire. I continued working
Yeah.
as the hospice nurse.
Oh,
I worked
nice.
at hospice estate for
Very,
nice. And so a wonderful, wonderful
very
position.
an RN you
I
are?
am a
Okay.
registered nurse, right? I have
Registered nurse.
a Bachelor of Science in Nursing and I have a Master of Science.
Oh, very
And
nice.
so my life has been devoted to nurturing and caring
Caring, yeah.
and getting involved and making sure the underdog is taken care of and
Right.
fighting for people's rights. So that seems to be my life of what I've done my entire life.
Sure.
And I
Any,
love everything that I've done. I feel very blessed.
and anything else you wanna like tell us about yourself or you have any hobbies that you like to do or
I love to
anything?
garden, and so I
Right.
did kind of retire a couple of years ago and thought I would be really happy. I painted my house, I painted my driveway, I do all my own landscaping and love trimming the shrubs and helping other people when they need help and
Yeah.
cooking food for people when they need help. And,
Mhm.
and so I've remained very active in the community,
That's good.
got very involved with the Royal Oak Golf Course when the developer
Yeah.
bought that property and was threatened to make it a high density development in the midst of already established
Yeah.
homes.
Yeah.
And so people identified me as being able to help lead that group. And so I have been doing that. And it's been 2 years.
And there's a lot of signs out for that.
The
It's
no rezone issue,
no
right,
rezone.
right, because it
Yeah.
really violates the comprehensive plan to make that into a high density.
Right.
So yeah, we have
Yeah,
fought
because
this
it's a
issue,
green space.
right?
Yeah.
And there's a developer that's going to come back soon
Hmm.
to submit a proposal. And they showed us some temporary plans, but we're not really sure that that's real compatible with what's there. There's a
Right.
lot of flooding issues. There's 15 lakes there, and some of them are overflowing, and that's the stormwater area for
Area.
the entire subdivision, not just Royal Oak, but the surrounding
There's,
area
there's
as
a
well.
lot of
Right, the
slopes over
stormwater
there
is a big
and
issue.
slope too, right? I guess it
Right,
goes,
right.
yeah.
And the piping from those areas are the original ones from the golf course in 1966.
Oh,
So they might not be so good.
right,
Some of that needs to be repiped to go to the St. Johns River
right.
instead of to our
Indian,
wonderful Indian River Lagoon.
Indian River, yeah.
Right. So there's a lot of significant issues there
Okay.
that we're working with the city on, and we've talked with the city a number of times about the issues and making some progress and considering all of the factors that are important to
Yeah,
consider.
to the communities,
Absolutely.
everyone
It's
in
the entire
Titus.
community.
Yeah,
It's not just Royal Oak,
yeah, but
but
Titusville,
right. But in getting involved, then of course people are like, well, there's an opportunity for some changes here in
right,
the community. And so here I am.
yeah. Well, that's
Here I am.
awesome. So I know why you're running for mayor
That's
then,
right.
right?
That's right. I have a solid track record of accomplishments,
Mm-hmm.
which I think is really important. It was a time of growth in the community I was in, tripled the community, and I went out and marketed the community to some really good builders and
Right.
then worked with them to make sure that the buildings were compatible with the areas,
Okay.
so that the residents, weren't upset. They were already there. We built a new law enforcement center. We worked to advance an overpass over an interstate years ahead of time by working with the Department of Transportation. So it was a very supportive community
That's
and
good
just really a fun time. It really was
with
to
your community.
the
I'd like-
community was a population of about 6,000 when I became an alderman. But the time that I left the community as mayor, we had tripled. So it was about 20,000.
Nice.
Now today they're about 50,000,
Wow.
which is very compatible
Yeah.
to what
Double.
Titusville
Yeah.
is, right?
Yes.
But we had planned, and the significant thing is that we had yearly retreats and yearly planning sessions with the department heads and the elected officials. And so we planned out 10 years, 20 years, even 50 years to say when we reach this level of population, when we reach this level, how many more officers do we need? How much do we need to expand the wastewater treatment plant?
Right.
How many more water towers to ensure clean water? And so we put all of those things in place. So when I left the community, I left it better than when I found it. And that was very gratifying for me.
Well, you just mentioned something, so I'm curious.
Yes.
What does the water towers have to do with clean water? Do you know, or
Well,
what's the
in the community
significance?
that I came from,
Yeah.
we didn't have the same type of
Water.
the supply, right?
Yeah,
I think in
supply.
Titusville, we buy our water from Cocoa.
Yeah,
So
well,
it
we have
comes
aquifers too,
right
so,
and
right,
offers, right,
yeah,
right,
which is, I
right.
know it's
Where I was is like
yeah.
we bought the water from another area, but we had to do storage
storage
tanks.
tanks.
Mhm,
Yeah, okay.
mhm. But
I
we
was
had to
just
plan
wondering.
ahead of that.
Yeah, I just know
Yeah.
when I was younger, we always seen them growing up, and us
Sure.
now
Had
they're
the high
not
school
as
mascot
big.
team,
Yeah,
right?
and I think Titusville had
Right.
one over on South of Park, and they had recently taken that one down up
Uh-huh.
there, so
If they don't need it for that storage
Yeah.
because they're getting enough otherwise.
otherwise, yeah.
But I
So,
think the thing I'm really proud of is that I do have a solid track record of accomplishments as an elected official. And I'm unique
right,
in that with my opponents because I'm the only one with this
yeah,
experience
with the
as an elected
experience, yeah,
official. I wasn't just sitting on boards. I wasn't just giving away other people's money so that they could receive an award or get their picture, around.
mhm,
I did this because this was the right thing to do for the community. And I have solid accomplishments as an elected official. And it's not easy as an elected official to make things happen because you have to work with everybody in the community,
yeah,
all different levels, all different colors, races, sexes, parties, and you can't let that get in the middle of it. You
Right.
need to sit at the table and work with the school district. You need to sit at the table and work with everybody to do the best for your community. And
right.
that's what I did, and I'm very proud of that.
Yeah, it seems like you're
And it
very
wasn't me, it
accomplished,
was us, we. I use
yeah.
the word we
Yep,
because it wasn't ever just me. It was we. It was the community that
Yeah.
helped to make
yeah,
things
to
better.
drive those goals and
Right. You
everything,
have to work
so, yeah,
together. Absolutely.
so, anything else? Any other accomplishments you want to mention or anything?
Well, I have the passion and energy, and I think that's important.
Oh, yeah,
As the mayor, you want to be the spokesman for the community,
mm-hmm,
and it's okay with me to be on call 24/7. I've heard some people say, "Oh, I don't want to do that. I have little kids." Well, then you're not the right person for the job because I was on call 24/7. Of course, I was used to that being a nurse anyway,
yeah,
but being on call 24/7, if there was anything that happened during the night, of course I was notified and I was the person who could speak for the city,
right.
on behalf of the city. And so I'm okay with that.
Well,
I'm up for that. That's what the job is.
it's energy,
Absolutely.
yeah, gives you more
Absolutely.
energy just thinking
Absolutely.
about
It
it
does.
too.
It does
So,
when I think back.
yeah,
That you can kind of tell.
you can tell, yeah,
Yeah,
I can
yeah.
see, I can
You
feel
gotta have
it,
that passion.
yeah,
We call it the fire in the belly,
yeah,
but you gotta have that passion for what you're doing. You can't just be laid back and, no, that doesn't work
right,
because people notice
yeah,
if you are really interested and have passion in what you're doing.
right, right,
And I do.
absolutely
And I do.
true,
And I do. I'm in this for the people.
right.
I'm not, I'm backed by citizens.
Mhm.
I'm not backed by developers. In fact, a developer tried to give me money last week and I said, no, thank you. I won't take that. because I'm not backed by developers. And he said, you won't take my money? And I said, no, sir, I won't. I appreciate you talking with people about me and encouraging support and votes,
You
but I won't take
self-funded
your money
yourself for a,
for quite a
yeah,
while,
quite a
right?
while.
Right, and
Yeah,
it's a grassroots
yeah.
effort. I don't have any special interests. I'm not trying to climb a political ladder. I've been there, I've done that. So
Mhm.
I'm not trying to do that. I'm trying to just help the community, and I believe I have something to offer. Right now is a critical time for our community too.
Yes, it is.
Yes,
It is.
and if you watched any board meetings
I do.
recently
I do.
from this week on Tuesday night, you might see that yes, we need some improvements. We need to restore some dignity to our government.
We do.
Yes, ma'am.
So,
Thank you.
all right. So you ready to get on with the
I am.
questions?
I am.
All right. So I have a copy here
Okay,
just in
thank
case
you.
you need it.
Yes, thanks.
So, the first one, North Brevard has seen significant growth and changes in recent years. What specific plans do you have to further stimulate economic development in our city? And how will you ensure that this growth benefits all residents, including small business owners and low-income families?
Okay, and I have
Yeah.
answers for those things.
Okay. Awesome.
I think first we
First-
need to identify the types of businesses that Titusville residents want.
Mhm.
What do they want? Is anybody asking them what they want? And are they following through after we ask them? I think we need to actively recruit by phone, email. I did lots of presentations to businesses that we wanted to attract to our community after they were identified by the residents of what they wanted. We need to aim for a diversity in our tax base. Commercial and industrial really pays the bills.
Okay.
And we need that as our tax base, but also we need that for local jobs so that our young folks don't have to go out of town in order to find jobs. We want them to stay in the communities to
Right.
grow
Yeah.
and to want to continue to live here as adults. We want to enhance our sense of community and pride. And I think the goal is happy residents that are proud to live here.
Yeah.
And so, in terms of economic development, I see that as a benefit for all.
Mhm.
As far as the benefit for small businesses, I'd like to establish what's called a GO team, and the GO stands for Get Open. And that GO team, I'd like it to be consisting of the code enforcement and inspectors, also the licensing personnel on city staff. And the objective would be to facilitate small businesses having a hard time here. They try to get up and running
Yeah.
and they run into obstacle after obstacle. And they say, the inspector comes back, okay, you did this, but now you have to do this. It's like if you would have told me I had to do that, I would have done that before you came back.
Right.
So there's a little disconnect in communication. And I think we can resolve that if we have a go team.
Right.
If we have specific inspectors associated with each business, so they know who to call, they know how to call them, and they can check in weekly and see, okay, how you doing here? How you
Right.
doing here? Facilitate it, not break any rules, not skip any steps. In fact, you need a checklist. You need a step-by-step checklist for the deficiency completion.
Right.
And they can touch base weekly. But then when it comes time for occupancy permit,
Mhm.
and to issue licenses, I'd like for our city staff to go on site to issue those. I don't think they should have to leave their small business with a employee, one or two employees, to have to go to city hall to do that.
Okay.
We need to be more small business friendly. That's the nuts and bolts of our community.
Issues them here. Is it City Hall that issues the
City Hall
CO?
may issue some with the occupancy permits as well as the licensing, which is of course an annual thing.
Mhm.
But we need to be more business friendly in that sense and help our small business owners.
Code
They're making big
enforcement,
investments.
and just as an idea, I'm just
Uh-huh.
throwing this out here.
I love ideas.
If code enforcement's going in to do the final inspection,
Mm-hmm.
why couldn't they, as long as the fire inspection was done, which
Mhm.
I guess that
Sure.
still has to be done.
Sure.
Couldn't they help with getting that final CO
Perhaps
issued?
they could. That's a good idea.
It's
That's
just,
a good
I don't
idea.
know how it works here. I'm just throwing an idea.
No, it's a good idea. Whatever can make this process be run more smoothly to
Smoother.
get this business open and running is to everyone's benefit
Yeah.
for that to happen. Again, not giving any breaks to anybody,
No.
but helping them instead of watching them struggle is really frustrating.
Right, yeah.
Is
The
really
many
frustrating.
steps that they're going through.
Yes.
And they go through the same steps any business goes through,
Exactly.
but it needs smoother
It does.
instead
And-
of the humps.
and
And
as I-
that's what they hit. And
Mhm.
living here and seeing all the pages, you see all the problems that
I do. I do.
go on.
And the more
So,
small businesses that I go into, I'm hearing the same story over and over. And so that's
Yeah.
what made me sit down and think, What could we do? So this is an idea. Would this idea work? I'm not sure, but I think it might.
Right.
And I love the name of it. Let's go.
Yeah, let's go.
Let's get open.
Yeah.
So that's my go team. But in addition to that, I think you create a thermometer, that you can measure the success and the increments of the steps that you're getting to.
Right.
So then when it's time, you have a grand opening and you celebrate.
Right.
It's really
Yeah,
a cool thing.
just a
It's
little,
really exciting
yeah.
to do ribbon cuttings and see the excitement and the
Mhm.
pride on everybody's face
It
whenever
is.
that's going on. So you asked about the benefits to low-income families, and I thought of some ways to address that as well. That is, you establish a task force to identify the scope of the need, because we know there's a need, but do we really know how much of a need? So I think we need to find out first what do we need? And then I think we sit down with the realtors. One idea I had was to see if the realtors would agree to rotate one of their realtors on a pro bono basis to serve one family per month
Mhm.
and help them to find a home, locate a home, and facilitate the move in, facilitate the process. Again, we can't do tax incentives because it's not fair to everyone else who's paying those fees. So we can't
Right.
waive fees, that kind of thing, but we can facilitate that. And if the realtors will work with that, then I think that could happen. I think we also work with corporations. We have several now that are buying up homes in subdivisions and then they're using them as rental homes. And I've had a lot of residents tell me they're not really pleased with that.
Right.
And so maybe we could work with these corporations that buy that out and ask them to agree to sell that home
Mhm.
to somebody of the lower income that meets those requirements, especially if that realtor is working with them.
Right.
I think if we encourage home ownership of something that they could afford, then establishes a pride. And
Yeah.
along with that, because I love gardening, is I think that we could work with Home Depot and Lowe's and Ace, and we could get vouchers perhaps from them that could give them a voucher that they could get plants and shrubs that are on the Brevard native shrub list
Yes.
that the Titusville Environmental Commission works so hard to provide. Because if they do that,
Right.
then the plants are more sustainable, they thrive, they're
Right.
healthy, they don't need a lot of maintenance. And if
Right.
you want to look at an
And low
example
water.
like that,
Yeah.
look at the library is what Laura Lee Thompson told me.
Right.
Look at the library. They've done this with the Brevard native plant. So we can encourage that
Mhm.
along with that could be part of the,
Yep.
and you do that as a family. You plant these shrubs and then you have a really nice looking place.
Yep.
You can get your paint, you can do your things, you can rev up, and you can have pride in ownership.
Arbor Day, they used to hand out trees in the town that I grew
Yeah,
up
and I don't
in.
think they did an Arbor Day
I
thing
don't
this time.
know. Or
So we're
Earth
worried.
Day,
I
some of
know,
them, you used
I
to give
know,
out little
I
saplings and
know.
I remember as a kid planting them in the yard and them growing up and stuff, so.
The Titusville Environmental Commission is working so hard on the tree issue
Oh, and
and
I
working,
watched that. You guys
yes.
and
Oh,
Titus,
they do such a
the
great job,
city
don't
and them
they?
came together and I think they came up with a good comprehensive
Mhm.
tree
Oh, they
list and
do have.
everything.
That's why this Brevard
So,
native list, I've already printed this and given this to several people
yeah,
who wanted to be able to do this in their yards.
right,
So I think we could make this work.
right.
Maybe not, but I think it's worth a try.
Uh-huh. Is that everything?
Mhm.
Okay. So second question, with an increased population and economic activity in North Brevard, there's a growing need to improve infrastructure and public services. How do you plan to address the current challenges related to transportation, utilities, and public safety? And what are your priorities for future investment in these areas?
Okay. When I consider transportation, I think of the many modalities of that. And so we have buses, we have cars, we have motorcycles, we have bicycles, we have scooters, we have skateboards, we have walkers. And we know the statistics show that Brevard County is not a very safe place to be a bicycle person or a walker.
Right,
There's lots of accidents and fatalities. And so, first of all, I think we need to make sure we have stoplights that actually work, crosswalks that are actually safe, curb cuts that provide easy bike riding, but also ADA compliant because we're not. Safe trails for biking and walking, sidewalk repairs of broken, uneven concrete. That's a real issue. I just had a friend who fell and broke her hip because the concrete was uneven,
oh, wow.
right? We need to make Titusville more bicycle and walker friendly. It's a beautiful area to ride your bike. We've got
Yeah.
beautiful weather to do that. We're not taking full advantage of that. And when tourists come, let them rent some bicycles,
Yeah,
pedal around. And
it's only in a certain part of
it is, it
Titus
is.
on one end, that's the
Right,
other ends are forgotten.
right, right. And I think it's not safe in some areas that don't have sidewalks yet. For example, some areas of 405, if you try to go from say Fox Lake Park or even Park, and I see many people walking on the shoulders.
Yeah.
It's not safe at
No,
all.
it's not.
I hesitate when I
And
drive, and
they
it's like
drive
I
very
just,
fast on that
oh,
road
it's
too, because
awful,
it's what,
right?
50
It's not
miles an
safe.
hour too.
It's not safe at all.
Yeah.
Also, the bus stops, as I drive around noticing, many of the bus stops don't have shelters over them. And so the people, like Michael, is sitting in the in the hot sun,
Yeah.
sitting in the hot sun or the
Yeah.
rain,
Yeah.
as we had a shower today, and they get drenched.
Mhm.
I think a bus stop needs to be a little haven here from
Right.
some of the elements, and I don't see that happening as much as I'd like to see that. So in the
Okay.
transportation realm,
Yeah.
that's my thoughts there. In the utility, I think there is absolutely no excuse for sewage spills. Absolutely no excuse. We need to establish a plan and budget for grids of the city with timelines. We need to repair and replace the piping and the lift stations. We need to buy the parts that are broken and we need to install them. We need to fix those that are broken. We need to increase the impact fees for developers. Yes, I said increase impact fees for the developers. The developers should pay their own way. It should not be on the backs of our current residents to pay for the developers' projects. Current homeowners should not be negatively impacted. Another thing on utilities, I believe we need a drive-up depository to pay your water bill. If it's hot, if you're disabled, you have to get out of your car. If you don't want to pay the extra fee to do it electronically, which I don't, so I go to City Hall to do that. If you don't go in the daytime when they're open, there is a place on the wall, and that's what I do is I
Yes.
stick my bill. But I would love to be able to just drive by and put that in a depository. And what you do is you get an old post office uh, depository, and you ask the high school kids to paint it up really pretty,
Yep.
with the city logo and
Yeah.
all kinds of things. And there's already a place in that parking lot. There's an entrance and there's an exit. So it's right there for the left side for you to put your window down
Mhm.
and put that in.
Yep.
And then, because I see many people struggling to walk into City Hall, whether it's the steps or the steep ramp.
Up the ramp.
Right. And this way, they could do it any time of the day or night.
Mhm.
You drive by, you drop it in,
Yeah.
and you're done.
It
And
would
there's
be
no
nice then.
penalty. It's a convenience. We
I-
need to focus
I would
on
use
what's
it.
convenient for residents. We
Yeah.
need to become a little more friendly to what's convenient for our residents.
Yeah.
So that's my utility.
Well, there
issue.
is a new plan for a city hall. Is that
Well,
still in the?
I don't know. It
I
is an
heard
older
it.
building.
Yeah.
I don't know. I have not been
I
into
know there
those
was
conversations,
talks
right?
and everything. Michael, can you comment on that to me for about that? Is that city hall thing a thing that's something actually gonna happen? Yes. Okay.
And I
So,
know that the fire department is indicating they need new facilities, and
yeah.
law enforcement indicates they need new facilities.
Yeah.
I'm not sure how they plan to pay for that, so that will be part of the job as a newly elected official, is to say, okay, how are we gonna pay for this?
Grants.
This is a lot of wishes,
Yeah.
right? And so sometimes you make do for a while until you can afford it,
Something.
right?
Yeah.
Just like we do at home, right? If we can't afford it yet, we have to kind of wait.
We have to
And we
cut back
figure it
on
out.
other things.
You're right. We cut back on other things, don't we? We
Yeah.
all have to do
We
that
have to
within
have
our budget.
food.
That's right.
So we have to cut back somewhere else to be able
Yes,
to afford the
you're
food
excellent. You're
today.
absolutely right. You're right.
So,
So that takes us to the public safety element that you mentioned. I consider that in the police, the fire, the paramedic realm. I think we could have some gun safety classes. Maybe they have enough, but I want to check into that. I think public education for homeowners to lessen the risk of their break-ins. And you were sharing with me some issues that's been going on, within the development where you live. And
yeah.
I think that happens everywhere. One of the things I think residents don't think about sometimes, um, is that when they park their car in their driveway and they're in their yard, working in their yard, perhaps their garage doors are open, their car's unlocked, they don't think about this. But if there's a bad actor taking a walk down your road, they can get in your car, they get your garage door opener, and then what they do is they come back then through the week while you're at work and they clean out your house.
Yeah.
I had this happen the first month that I lived here, the very first month I lived here. And it was before my husband, he had to finish the job he was on before he could move down. So I'm mowing the grass in the sand and figuring out how to do all this new Florida stuff.
You're right.
And I had some cash in an envelope in my glove box that I intended to buy something with that evening.
Mm-hmm.
And I was cutting the grass and I went in the backyard a bit and I didn't even think about it. And I came back and the envelope was laying on the passenger seat empty. And so my money was gone,
Yeah.
and I called the police department and they said, we really have to educate people better.
And just, I want to throw this out there,
Mm.
just as a, because we had a PI officer come and speak with
Ah,
us. But
okay.
every night, Titusville Police Department at 9 p.m.
Uh-huh.
post on their Facebook
Oh,
page and
okay.
on their social media
Okay.
about locking it up.
Okay.
And,
Okay.
and
That's
just
good.
everyone needs to follow them on social media and just be aware. 9 p.m. like we used to be as kids.
Yeah.
At 7, do you know at 7 p.m. do you know where
You know
your
where your children
children
are,
are?
right?
Well, it's 9 p.m. in Titusville.
Sure.
Lock it up.
Sure.
Lock your doors,
Sure.
lock your cars, double check everything.
Sure.
You got to be
Sure.
proactive when
Sure.
it comes to that. And
Right.
are we human? Do we make mistakes?
Hmm.
And we have to live with our mistakes.
Right. Right.
So,
Right. But I think if we help people realize
yeah,
that,
to deter,
yeah,
to deter,
to deter that, right? Don't make it
deterrent.
easy for
Yeah,
them.
don't make it easy for them.
Protect yourself.
Right.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Which is we're responsible for doing that.
Mhm.
I think we could also, in the public safety realm, do some fun activities for kids. And we could have bike rodeos that involve city personnel, elected officials, the police department, the fire department, and you make it a fun time for kids. You give them helmets, and usually Walmart will donate helmets. You have prizes, you set up obstacle courses and cones for them to learn how to go through. You make sure they know how to air their tires, and it's really a fun time for kids, but also it's a good bonding with the adults that they
Yeah.
see the fire officials, they see the police officials, they see elected officials and adults, and good role models that want to help them, that they're their friends.
Did you see the one at 4th of July with the fire department with the kids with the obstacle course that they had?
I did not have
Oh
a chance
my,
to see that.
oh my Lord.
Good,
They had the
good.
kids dragging the hoses
Oh,
and then they were climbing through
oh,
things.
good,
They
good,
were actually sitting
good.
in with like a fake, a little kitty fire truck,
Sure, sure.
jumped out, pull the
Oh,
hose and go through stuff. And it was so and all the kids were absolutely
oh,
it was
sure,
great.
sure.
It was
And we
great.
got to start with the kids because we
Yeah.
want them to grow into responsible adults.
Yeah.
But if we don't uh, do things with them at an early age,
Yeah.
things could
More
go the other
interaction,
direction.
yeah.
So they're our future for tomorrow. So we want to be want to be helping them
Engaging,
along.
yeah.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
So
Positive
you
engagement.
asked then how are we going to measure?
Yeah.
And I would say that for each initiative, we assess what the cost is, what the budget's going to be,
Right.
and we assign that, then we assign that initiative, and then we can go back and evaluate if we're meeting that initiative. It's an important part of
Mhm.
any project is to make sure you're doing what you said you were going to do, and accountability.
Erica, she's running for mayor for the city of Titusville. I was just
Okay.
answering a question there.
Hello, Erica.
So, okay, engaging with the community and maintaining transparency in decision-making are crucial for public trust. What measures will you implement to ensure that residents of North Brevard are actively involved in the political process and have access to clear, timely information about local government actions and policies?
That's a great question.
That's a
I have
long
an open door
question.
policies, certainly, and in the mayor's office, I would have an open door policy. I would establish regular office hours. I answer my phone calls and I answer emails, and that doesn't always happen. Um, I think we need town halls. I think we need to have them quarterly. And you have a morning session and an evening session to accommodate those who are working and still working and those who are retired and don't want to come out in the evening. You include city staff, perhaps even televise that, if we can work that out. I think you have a flip chart that you talk about the current events, what's going on. Then you also have a flip chart to take in information from the residents and the citizens as they're talking so that we can write down what their concerns are. If you don't
Right.
write them down, even just in a work session format.
Right.
You got to write them down so you can address them later.
Yeah,
Want
because
to
you
get
only get
all
3
these thoughts
minutes
down
on the agenda items.
if a regular meeting.
Yeah,
But
the
this wouldn't
regular
be a
minute,
this
this
wouldn't
would
be,
be
no, this would be an open,
open,
this would just be where you put circles, you put the chairs in a circle,
yeah,
U shape, you have your flip charts, just open session. We want to hear from everybody. It wouldn't be a formal type of meeting.
right.
No, but it would
Yeah,
be a town
just
hall.
a
Share your
listening.
information. We want to listen to you.
Right.
We want to hear what you're saying. We want to be responsive to you
That's
as
nice.
residents. We could do that quarterly. And of course, we'd have cookies and snacks. I also think we need a quarterly newsletter, and here's why. I think that we need a quarterly newsletter mailed to homes and businesses because a business is essentially a resident of our community.
Right.
We need to include them in everything that we're doing. I don't think we can depend just on social media. Social media is a critical element, but there's a lot of folks that are not on social media, whether they choose to be or can't or don't have the abilities or equipment. And we're not reaching those folks. When I go to work sessions at City Hall, there's maybe 8 people. And they're like, we advertise this. Why don't we have more people? Well, the reason is because people didn't know about it. If people knew about it, I think they would be there. They've had some wonderful work sessions about the natural resources. In fact, saw Michael there whenever that one was held. It was a great work session, but there weren't a lot of participants because people didn't know.
Right.
And so I think that if we do this quarterly newsletter, it would cost a little bit
Yeah.
to put it in print, but they're already doing talking points in print. That's pretty glossy.
Right.
But we can mail it to the residents. I think the residents are worth it. This is a way to get information in your mailbox about what's happening, what's going on, and a way to provide information.
Right.
That's critical, and we're missing that. So Facebook is great, social media is great, but it's one modality, and I think we've left off. We don't have a lot of newspapers in print now, so the world has changed. But I believe we need to go back to this newsletter idea if we want to keep our citizens engaged.
I remember when I first moved here, I got a kind of thing with all the list of when everything gets picked up and what do you
Mhm.
do with everything. And
Mhm.
like, it would be nice if maybe, because it changes every year, it
Sure.
has to, or maybe
Sure.
every 2 years. It'd be nice to
Sure.
see that stuff come back out
Right.
and
And I think they
around.
put that in the water bill perhaps, but there's various ways to get
Yeah.
that information
Mhm.
out. The other thing I think to involve residents, we need to improve the sound system in City Hall.
Hmm.
It's not just me. I don't have a hearing issue, but everybody around me, because I'm consistent. I go to City Hall meetings, I go to TEC meetings, I go to planning and zoning meetings, and people in the audience can't hear what's going on.
Yeah, I
The
was
only way you can
wondering
hear
about
is listening to
like,
the YouTube after the meeting. You can hear better then. And people who are hard of hearing, my goodness, they can't hear anything. It seems to me we should be able to fix this problem pretty
yeah,
simple.
this last meeting seemed like it really touched on everyone. Well, there was
Yeah,
more people there
it
too,
did.
but I did notice everyone kept saying, I can't hear you. And I'm going,
Right,
why can't they hear? Aren't they
right.
using mics or?
The microphone is here, and then they lean back in their chair instead of leaning
Oh,
forward. They need to speak in the microphone,
okay.
and that could solve a lot of the issues, but
Projectile.
they
Yeah,
don't.
okay.
But maybe we need lapel mics, or maybe we just need to help them to educate the council members to talk into the
Good mic.
microphone. Right, you've got a good one here. I appreciate that. The other thing is, even as some churches have for the hearing disabled, is
Yeah.
you have my headphones
Oh,
and you
okay.
hook them into the system so that somebody who has some hearing disabilities could hear
Right.
what's going on. We're doing a disservice to the hearing disabled by allowing this to
And that
continue
comes
on
in
in
with
this
ADA,
method. Absolutely.
ADA
And this is a
compliance.
simple thing. It doesn't cost a lot. We should be doing this.
Right.
We should be doing this. Yeah.
Yeah.
If we care about our citizens hearing what's going on, we need to do this.
Right.
I think we need to issue surveys to assess the citizens' level of satisfaction and determine what they want the community to look like in the future. That's critical. I may have some ideas, everybody else has ideas, but we need to ask the residents and business owners, what do you want the community to look like in
Right.
5 years, 10 years? Do you want it to grow? What do you want to do? And folks have done surveys and we do have some answers, but they're not always being implemented. And we need to do a better job, I believe, of implementing that.
Yeah.
The other thing is I think we need to engage people at all different levels.
Yep.
So we need our senior citizens. They are a wealth of information and knowledge. We can't poo-poo our senior citizens. They're
Yeah.
who got us this far in life. And boy, they have a brain trust. They know
They
what
remember.
went on,
Yeah.
what went on when, and they have a lot of the answers. So let's get their ideas. But on the other hand, we have young people.
Yeah.
And we need their input because they've got fresh ideas. So we need to listen to the Gen Xers. We need to listen to the Gen Zs and whatever we have coming along.
Yep.
But importantly, too, we need to listen to the kids, the high school kids, the middle school kids, and even the little kids out of the mouth of babes. I've asked little kids sometimes, and they don't have a filter, and they'll come up with an answer right away. And at first you think, well, no, I don't think that could work. And then you think about it. Well, maybe it
Well,
could.
yeah, maybe it could. Yeah, it
Right.
could.
So let's
Maybe,
involve
maybe we
them.
need to change it a little bit,
That's
but
right.
it's an idea.
Let's bring the kids in and let's
Yeah.
have them be council for the day.
Right.
And let's have them sit in
Oh,
the
that's
mayor's
cool.
seat.
I've
Let's
seen
sit
that.
them in the
Yeah.
council seat. And they get so thrilled about it and they learn something about civic engagement.
Yep.
Yes.
And government and
Yes, they
how
do.
it works.
Right,
So, which they
right.
go through in a very elementary school. It's somewhere. I don't remember.
Right. But they learned that.
Yeah.
And I think we need to treat all citizens with respect, whether they live in the city or not. They spend money here, even though they live in the unincorporated area. They spend money here, they work here, they they contribute a lot to our community, and
Yeah.
to see that they're treated as if they don't matter because they don't live here is very distressing to me,
Yeah.
because they do matter. We all matter.
Yeah.
And we need to treat them with respect. And at the council meeting Tuesday, people were asked as they were coming in, did they live in Titusville? It's like, does it matter? You know, can't I attend the meeting even if I don't
They're
live in
on our,
Titusville?
they're on our water lines and they deal
Right,
with the
right.
traffic. Cause
That's
there
right.
are certain
That's right.
streets that I guess that have been grandfathered in.
Mhm.
Cause I lived in Imperial Estates,
Mhm.
which is city of Titusville.
Right?
But Key Largo,
Uh-huh.
if you ever notice when
Yes.
you drive into Key Largo, they have different colored garbage cans.
Yes.
They were grandfathered in,
Oh.
and no streets within that
Oh.
first section are county.
Is that right?
And everything
Oh.
else around it is city.
Oh, it gets really confusing,
It
doesn't
does,
it?
yeah, because some of them got grandfathered
Mm.
in, I guess, when they were county and they were spilling
Mhm.
over to city as far as what I
Now it's hard to
understand.
tell.
Yeah,
Wow.
so, but there's on the same water
Right.
lines,
Yes.
fire department,
Yeah.
everything,
Wow.
so, yeah,
Wow. You gotta know. You gotta
yeah.
know your facts there,
Mhm.
don't you?
Yeah.
Another thing I think would help is, and this would have to be, if the people wanted to do it, it would be a charter amendment, but it seems that the council members and the mayor all run at large, meaning they have to, they're responsible for the entire city. They have to be voted upon by everybody in the city
Right.
at large, instead of dividing the city into districts or wards or whatever you might call it. And I know a couple of the other candidates and I've had this discussion. It really creates a lot more accountability and responsibility if your city is in sections, so that you have a council person for that section. And then when there's an issue, you know which council person to call. When you want to call someone, you know who
Okay.
to call, and you have someone that you can talk with that can take your concern forward
Uh-huh.
and lead it forward. It also makes it easier when you have your town halls, because then you invite that particular ward, district,
Section,
whatever you
yeah.
want to call them. You invite those and you have those, and it's a smaller group instead of being the whole town. And so it's a lot, it's just more cozy,
Right.
if you will.
Yeah.
But people like identifying with who their specific elected representative is.
Yeah.
Of course, the mayor position is always at large because it's at the entire city.
Right.
But the other folks, then I think this at large just isn't working really well for representation.
Right.
So, but that would have to be a vote of the people to decide if they wanted that. It's an idea, but it can really increase your accountability and have people feel a sense of ownership of, like, okay, this is my councilman, this is my councilman.
Yeah, that's kind of cool.
Right,
It's
right.
just like when you're section for your senators and everything, you have one for your area, yeah.
Mhm. Mhm.
And in the city wise, it would be smaller, as you said.
Right.
Yeah,
Right, right.
So-
So those are some ideas there
yeah. Anything else you have? Or you wanna,
on that particular topic.
yeah,
On that particular topic, I think I've,
you got
if
everything?
do you feel I've answered your question?
Yep, I do.
Okay.
All right, we'll
Okay.
go to the people, let's see what they have. You have
Okay,
anything
sure.
else you want to talk about?
Well,
or-
I want to make sure I talk about the quality of life issues,
Let's go ahead.
because the
talk
right to
about it.
clean water is so
Oh,
important.
there we go.
You know, we have 82% of our residents voted for this, and yet it's being ignored at the city council level. And in fact, spending $160,000 extra of our taxpayer money to sue us for what we approved. And so I want to make it clear that I signed the oath to uphold the will of the people of Titusville for the clean water,
Right,
that I will do everything I can when elected to make sure that this lawsuit is dropped and that we move forward with this. I would never deny the right for voters to decide anything. And that was allowed. They were able to decide something, and yet then it's ignored. That's really wrong, in my opinion. So we need to listen to our voters. They made, and other judges have even said, no, this stands up.
yeah, the
And you need to
verbiage,
drop the lawsuit.
yeah,
And you need to respect the voters. So I think that's really important. I think the Indian River Lagoon is our greatest asset. And so we want a healthy lagoon.
Yeah.
And as Laura Lee Thompson tells me, that we're surviving and we want to get to the point where we're thriving.
right,
And I respect her a great deal for her work on Sorrel and the different boards that she's on. Her heart is really her passion. You talk about passion. This woman has passion for cleaning up this lagoon, and she's just a wealth of information. It's helped me a lot to understand. I
right,
think it's important we don't allow privatization of the shoreline. The tall condo buildings really block the view, but they block the view. I mean, we're a space town. You know, people can't see the rockets go up from
Right.
if you're next to those condos. And so we really have to watch that, to not privatize that.
yeah,
We want to protect our our shoreline, and I would suggest and adopt a shoreline program because some of the waters are receding. There's might be some trash there. Let's have people adopt that, like we adopt streets,
Yep.
adopt a street, adopt a shoreline. Let's get the public involved and engage them
Right.
in helping to clean that up and make sure that we're doing everything we can do to make sure that we have a healthy lagoon. It involves tourists, but it also involves us because I've had voters talk with me about the boating, kayaking, the ecotourism with the bioluminescence, sailing, fishing. And I had a woman tell me last week that she did jet skis and she can't do it anymore because she got infected because of the waters in the lagoon.
Yeah.
And she had infections in her fingers and her toes, and she's still on IV antibiotics
Mm.
because of that contamination. That's got to stop. That has got to stop because it's not just our residents, it's any tourist that comes here as well. So we're really defeating our own purpose here if we don't do some issues to clean up this lagoon.
Right.
Right, right. We need to stop wasting taxpayer money. I can come up with 2 million right now. You know, we could put more money into the lagoon if we weren't wasting money with the lawsuits that they're doing.
Right.
I don't think that bridge to connect two parks was necessary for $1 million. That to me was not a wise use of our taxpayer money. So you go and then paying the fines for the waste that they're doing with the sewage disposal. We could save a lot of money if we don't do things like that,
Right.
and then we can point it in the right direction.
All right.
Mhm.
And how did you feel about the cement or what changes they're gonna make over the other side of the Max Brewer by putting that concrete park in
I'm a little
there?
confused about that. I think
Yeah.
at first it was like, that was a really dumb idea, but then I knew I needed to find out more facts about it.
Right.
And I think what they're trying to do is to prevent some hardness, whether regarding hurricanes,
Right.
because there was some erosion.
Oh, there was.
And so it was to prevent the erosion, but in doing so, it also prevents people from being able to do the
The water sports,
the water
yeah.
sports there, the picnics that they had, laying in the sun, everybody had their tent. And I would love to go and just sit and watch.
Yeah.
And watch everybody on their little
Yeah,
skis and
the-
do other things, just
The
watch
the
them.
dolphins are always
Yeah,
over
so-
there.
Yeah,
The
so I really,
manatees, yeah.
if we need to do that because of hurricane hardness to prepare that, then okay, but I don't like it.
Yeah, it could have been more friendly.
Right,
Friendly,
and
I
I believe
guess.
that was a county function, that wasn't the city function,
Oh,
from what
okay.
I understand.
Oh, was it? I thought the city had input on
And
that.
I may have misunderstood that.
Yeah.
I didn't like the looks of it, no,
Yeah.
because it prevents people from using it, and
Yeah.
that's wrong.
Mhm.
That's wrong. But the other thing I want to mention, because the comprehensive plan is so important to me as an elected official, I believe we're stewards of the comprehensive plan and the future land use. It's put in place for a reason. And when you do a comprehensive plan, you don't just sit as city staff and as elected officials to do that. You engage everyone in the community who are stakeholders, and
Right.
you develop that plan together. And so people should have a confidence and trust in that plan. And lately, it seems that the comprehensive plan isn't always being followed. They're quick to be able to want to do small scale amendments that then they have to send to the state. And I believe that developers need to follow the rules that we have instead of us trying to follow the rules that the developers try to do. And I don't believe developers should be writing our ordinances, such as what was done with the Live Local ordinance. So to me, that's not right. That's me.
That you?
That's me.
Got
I'm ready for
everything?
questions.
You
Yes,
ready
ma'am.
for
Thank you.
questions?
Thank you
Okay.
for allowing me to talk
Yeah,
about
no,
that.
no, you're fine. You're fine. That's what you're here for. We got to get the word
Yeah,
out about you
Yeah.
and what you stand for, and that's what
Yeah,
people
thank you.
want to know.
Yeah, status quo is not good enough.
Right.
We've got some problems to fix.
And someone did ask where you were mayor,
Uh-huh.
which was
Wentzville, Missouri.
Winsfield, Missouri.
Crossroads of the nation. Exactly. It was the intersection of Interstate 70 and Highway 40.
Okay.
Mhm.
So, and how long have you lived here in Florida? Someone
14
asked.
years.
Oh, wow.
I moved in 2012.
Nice.
Mhm.
Oh, I moved here. My son reminded me, I moved here in 2015. I was trying to
Okay.
think of how long I've been here. And then what is your stance on the proposed tax increase for the city of Titusville homeowners? I guess that the proposed, they just asked the millage rate. Michael, what was the millage? Do you remember the amount for the millage tax increase?
They brought it up.
Yeah.
I think I hear what you're saying is about the millage rate.
Yeah.
And the rollback.
And the rollback,
Right.
yeah.
And they discussed that briefly, at the meeting on Tuesday
right
night.
at the end.
Right, and I believe in September is when they will be holding the public hearings about that.
Correct, yeah,
Right.
so we're set at a
Uh-huh.
rate, they can't go no higher than the rate that they just decided, but they
Uh-huh.
can go lower.
Right,
So,
right,
but they did
right.
have to set a rate,
Mhm.
I guess, at this last meeting.
Right.
So, but I don't remember the
I look
exact
forward to
one.
those public hearings where they
Yeah.
can explain it more.
Explain it more, yeah, because it's not really
It wasn't
clear.
clear.
Yeah.
Mhm,
So,
mhm. But good questions.
yeah,
We've
and
got to be responsible with taxpayer money is a really big job.
right,
And you really need to make sure you are responsible with that money.
right,
You know, we don't have a lot of money. We
right.
as taxpayers don't have a lot of money,
No, we
you
don't.
know, and we pay what we need to pay, but we expect that they're going to use it wisely. And you've got to have some trust in your elected officials to do that.
359. Thank you, Trenton. Trenton's one of the
Thank
ones
you,
that,
Trenton. Yes.
yeah, he's one of the
Yes,
ones that
Trenton is
did
great
see.
at, he knows these
Yeah,
statistics.
so
He does.
359
Yes.
was the
Yes.
mill rate, right?
And we're looking forward to that public hearing in September.
Right.
Is it September 12th or so, I believe?
Yeah, the next,
Mhm.
yeah, city
Mhm.
council meeting. And Jimmy Mutter says that's a beautiful part of Missouri.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah, he's a
It was.
realtor.
Oh, okay. It is. It was a beautiful part of Missouri.
He would be one to
Absolutely.
talk about your idea with the realtor program.
Oh, sure.
Yeah,
That'd be
that would be
great.
one to, that would be someone to talk
Super.
about. And hi Vickie, Tara Gibson says, hi Vickie.
Okay.
What is your stance on pro-riding support in minority community, the homeless? So
Pro
you,
writing support. I'm not sure what that means.
I don't know
Help
what,
me understand that
I don't,
better.
yeah, can you clarify on that, Tara? And the homeless, you had spoke on, well, no, you didn't.
You
speak
asked me
really
questions
on
about how to help low income.
low
people with
income and
homes,
family,
right,
but how you
right.
feel about the homeless then?
Mhm.
Someone's asking, you
Okay.
have any,
I think we need to evaluate that. I did have a meeting with the police chief a
Yeah.
few weeks ago, and we discussed that in terms of what's going on. Also, I spoke with some folks at the Harriet Moore Center.
Yep.
And explored some ideas together of some sites in our town right now that perhaps we could convert to be some an area where folks that need a place to be, but not just to live there
right,
forever, but to be temporary and to do some journeyman, some trade school
trade
issues.
schools, yeah,
Right, help them learn to be auto mechanics, help them to learn skills and job training.
yeah,
And if we can, and I think we together identified a location, but I'm going to hold back on that location because we
Right.
still have to check of who owns it and whether it could happen or not.
right.
But Lala and I had a really good conversation at Harriet Moore Center about that.
Mhm.
And we really were brainstorming about how we could make this work. If we could find a place that has a kitchen, because then we can do culinary skills. And
Right,
if we find a place that has a gymnasium and work that in, so that we can have some exercise places and bring the skills in, bring in the professionals to help folks with life skills, but
right.
also with the trade, so that we can get them to work, get them a
Okay.
job,
So,
and help them to be productive citizens.
so the other part was, what stance are you, what is your stance on providing support in the minority community? That's what she
Oh,
meant.
okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, certainly I'm there. And I think I
Yeah.
demonstrated that, with talking with Lala and Sonia about what, some different things
Yeah,
that
through
we
the
could do.
Harriet Moore
Right,
Center and
right.
everything. Yeah, that's,
They've got a
yeah,
lot of really good ideas.
yeah.
These ladies do. Absolutely.
Budget workshop is August 8th, I believe at 5, Trenton
Okay,
said.
thank you, Trenton.
So, we attended the last city council meeting and asked for support for MLK Day Parade
Mhm.
and providing, for support for our youth.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah,
Absolutely, we should do that,
yeah.
without a
So,
doubt.
I think we do have an MLK parade. I'm not sure. I thought we did. I usually have events or something, I think.
Perhaps Tara
So,
knows. I don't.
yeah, I'm not sure either. So I usually don't go to events. I'm not big on, I went to the 4th of July thing. So, but that takes, my son wanted to go to that, so we went. So I'm not,
They were pretty fireworks. It was
Yeah.
very well attended,
yeah.
very well attended.
I'm
The fireworks.
interested in your gun classes and what you like about that, giving community support there and stuff like
Mm.
that, which would be great.
We need to
So,
focus on gun safety
yeah.
and just make sure we're doing good education.
And we have a beautiful outdoor range here
We do.
too.
We're fortunate to have that.
Yeah, very
Absolutely.
beautiful.
Absolutely. That museum, that police facility
Yeah.
is just really wonderful.
Yeah, that's.
I love
the
going
police
through that.
officer.
Mhm.
We have an outdoor range as
Right,
well. It's a
right.
mix.
right,
So, but it's called
right.
Titusville Rifle and Pistol Club,
Uh-huh,
so that we
uh-huh.
have.
Mhm.
So, and I actually went there for the first time this past weekend
Yeah,
and had a good time.
good,
So,
good.
but anything else you want to talk on, or anything else you want anyone else to know? Any more questions for anyone out there that you like to ask?
Please, if I don't know the answer, I'll find it for you. And
Yeah,
I will tell you up front, I don't know the answer,
yeah.
but I'll find it for you.
And let's mention that.
Yes.
VickieForMayor.com, and it's
Yes.
VICKIE for FORMAYOR.com.
That's correct.
You have signage if you want to sign. They
Yes,
can ask for a sign on
absolutely,
there. They can
absolutely.
get in contact with you on there.
Mhm.
So if you're watching this on the replay and you have any questions or anything, reach out to Vickie. You do have an event calendar where events
You
that
do.
you'll be at.
Mhm.
You have one coming, you actually have two coming up, the 30th, and I think the
Mhm.
second, I think were
Mhm.
a couple events that I
Right,
saw on your
right.
page
And
and
on
stuff.
the first,
Go out to an event meter and
sure.
stuff.
I love to talk to people.
Yeah,
Yeah.
well, we had a
I
great
love to talk
time.
to people.
Yeah, it's been a great
Yeah.
day. Very
Yeah,
easy
and I appreciate the
to,
questions
yeah,
that people ask.
it's
I'm in this for the people. Again, I'm not in for any other reason. I'm in
right,
to help make our community better. Um, I think we celebrate our successes and we dig in and we fix the problems.
right. And on your page is what? Leading with vision and serving with heart.
Exactly, exactly. And I think nurses are good for this job because we do have a nurturing aspect to us and a caring aspect.
Uh-huh.
It's not cold and calculated. It's like, let's help our people. That's what we're about.
So the last day to register, someone's asking about when the election is. The
Uh-huh.
last day to register was July 22nd, so
Mhm.
we're past that. Early voting is 8:10 to
Yes,
8:17.
right.
It is 8 to 6
Mhm.
Monday through Friday, 8 to 4 Saturday and Sunday,
I believe they're going to have
and
one
8:20
day,
is the election day.
and that's really important to know. Thank you
Correct.
for bringing that up. Because there are three people in this race for mayor,
Correct.
then that's why it's in the primary this time. And
8:20.
so it's so important for everyone to go and vote on August 20th. They're not used to that for the nonpartisan issues. Clearly, it's nonpartisan.
Right.
Water's not a party issue, and the lagoon is not a party issue.
Right.
All of these issues are about us and they're all nonpartisan. So you need to vote for the person who's going to work the hardest for you
Yeah.
and who has some experience and can really solve some issues for you and work with you as the resident
Right.
to help make our town better. And so the goal with this August 20th is the top two would then proceed on to the November election.
Correct.
But there is a situation where if you are fortunate enough to be voted with 50% plus one,
Yep. Plus
then
one.
you win the election.
Right.
And I am seeking that as my goal is 50% plus one, and that's you. And I appreciate every vote and every voter. Please vote August 20th. I really appreciate you. Thank you.
In early voting, is Titusville Library gonna have early voting, or is that just a
I believe there are
precinct?
two
There's
locations
two
with early voting.
locations,
Mhm.
yeah, and I don't have the early, but you can go to votebrevard.gov,
Uh-huh.
or Megan, if you do know that answer, if you could put it in the post, I would appreciate it, or Michael, someone that knows that answer where early voting is, because that's the only thing I don't have
And I'd
written
say the
down.
election office, I really compliment them. I believe
Yeah.
they do.
They do in all,
They really do a very good job of running all of this, and it's not easy, but
right.
they do. But I think they do excellent. They know what they're doing there.
Seth, we're gonna get you that answer and we'll post it up here in the chat. I think Michael's looking it up right
And I had
now.
that information, but I didn't bring that with
Yeah.
my big folder here.
I know. I knew someone had asked the times. I
Yes.
had that in my notes. I guess I need to put that location in there. What is it?
Got it, he says.
Oh, oh, there we go. There it is. The primary election early voting dates and where, Michael?
So it's August 10th through August 17th.
Yep.
Mhm.
And it's Saturday to
That's early
Saturday.
voting.
Yeah, that's early voting.
Mhm.
The 20th is the election, but where? Is early election. Type,
So it's
so the Court of Clerks the big building, correct?
Right, right, the
Which is the
county
big, the
building,
county
right,
building.
or the
And then the
library.
library is the other one. I knew
And I
the
thought so, but I
library, so,
didn't want to say it unless I was absolutely sure,
yeah, I
but
was
thank
pretty
you.
sure on
It's
that
good to clarify
library,
that,
yeah,
though.
yeah.
It's good to clarify. Thank you.
No problem. You're welcome, Seth. And everyone, I want to thank you. We do have the next one coming up is Saturday. Tomorrow. Sorry. Um,
That
I'm
is
only human. Tomorrow we have Dan Diesel, who is our city mayor, who's running
Mhm.
for the county
County Commissioner.
commissioner seat.
Mhm.
So that's at 11 a.m. tomorrow. So if you want to
Oh,
join us
okay.
tomorrow for that. And I would like to say thank you to
Thank
Vickie
you.
and everything, and good
Thank
luck
you.
to you on
Thank you.
your
It's been a pleasure meeting you.
race and
Thank you so
everything.
much.
All right, everyone. You have a great day.
August 20th. Thank
August
you again.
20 vote.
Appreciate your vote.